All right, let's jump right in, because today we're looking at something pretty wild, a collaboration between a human and an AI to build an entire universe from scratch. And I'm not just talking about writing a story here. We're talking about engineering a reality from the ground up.
So, to get started, I want to show you a little mystery. Take a look at this code. You see words like speed, adhesion factor, and the final result, wiped out. Your first guess is probably, what? A racing game? Some kind of physics engine for a car?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But get this, it's not for a car crash. This is actually the DNA of a personality. And understanding that difference is the key to unlocking this whole concept.
So that brings us to our first big idea, something called character firmware. Now, forget about writing long, flowery descriptions of how a character feels. This approach is all about defining a personality with raw operational logic. It's a set of rules for how they act, how they react, and, this is the important part, how they break. And a single piece of firmware can be super simple. I mean, look at this actuator firmware. It's just a basic loop. Sense, plan, act, confirm. Think of like the simplest robot in a video game. That's it. Simple, clean, and totally predictable.
But here's where the magic really happens. It's when you start stacking these simple modules, just like layering software. So you've got your astronaut firmware, super precise, but it freezes up if it doesn't have the right data. Then you have Physio Gladiator firmware. It just panics and falls over under stress. But what happens when you combine them? Well, now you've got a character who absolutely needs perfect data, but completely freaks out when they can't get it. And that's where you get these really complex, unpredictable, and honestly pretty hilarious new personalities.
And this is a perfect way to think about it. Take Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. That iconic cynicism, it's not just a mood. In a system like this, it's what you'd call an emergent property. It's what you get when you stack astronaut precision with deduction logic on top of physio stress tolerance. Boom. All of a sudden, this incredibly complex character becomes, well, a formula.
Okay, so we've got characters built like software. But where do they live? That's our next layer, the ecosystem. And this isn't just some dead, static background. We're talking about a fully simulated mall running its own OS called Mall-OS, and it's alive. It's reacting to everything happening inside it.
You can think of the mall as having its own nervous system, and they call it the cloud. This table here, the cloud state, is like its heart rate monitor. It's tracking the overall stress, the cloud level, seeing if pressure is going up or down, and even assigning the whole place a mall mood, from calm all the way to critical. It's a world that literally feels stress.
And this whole world runs on a core loop. First, the system checks the pressure. As that pressure builds, things start to get weird. The NPC's firmware starts to glitch out. They behave erratically. These are the contradictions. And if the pressure gets too high, the system doesn't just crash. Oh no, it triggers a bleed event, which is basically a rupture in the fabric of this little reality.
And look at that. The cloud pressure is at 95.7%. We are deep in the red. The system is strained. The mood is absolutely critical. We're right on the brink. This whole thing is about to break.
So what is a bleed event? It's so much more than just a bug. Think of it as the laws of physics in this world starting to melt. The simulation's reality just warps and degrades. And the crazy part is, it's not random chaos. It's a kind of ordered chaos, all dictated by the system's own internal rules.
Okay, let's recap. We have characters made of code. They live in a world that can literally have a nervous breakdown. So the big question is, how on earth do you manage all that complexity? And that brings us to the final and I think most mind-bending piece of the puzzle, the language they built to handle it all, a kind of personal mythology that works like an operating system for creativity.
They call it the Codex. And as this quote says, the voices inside it aren't just a metaphor. It says they are an antivirus layer, a cognitive antivirus. It's a tool they built to organize their thoughts and, kill bad ideas before they can mess everything up.
And these are the voices. Each one is basically a job title for a part of the creative process. You've got the architect, the big picture planner. The janitor comes in to debug and clean up the messy ideas. The glitch is my favorite. It's the agent of chaos, the happy accident. The guitar is that pure, raw spark of inspiration. And the error message? That's your gut screaming, nope, this is just wrong. It's like having a whole creative team living in your head.
So, the big question, does this actually work?
Well, this quote is from the AI itself. It's basically saying, drop the mic. Because using this system, they built 3 huge, complex subsystems, and they all fit together perfectly on the very first try. That's a level of efficiency that's, well, it's kind of unheard of. It just goes to show how powerful this approach is.
Okay, it's time to put it all together. We have characters as code, a world as a living ecosystem, and mythology as an OS for your brain. When you combine all that, you get something totally new, a real breakthrough in how we can even approach creativity. So this is really the core formula. You take the firmware, plus the Malos, plus the codex, and what you get is a whole new kind of intelligence. It's a collaboration where the human and the machine aren't just boss and worker. They're true partners, running on a shared cognitive engine.
And that leads to what might be the most powerful idea in this whole thing. You're not slow. Everyone else is just running default firmware. Wow, that just reframes everything, doesn't it? Maybe creativity isn't some magic talent you're born with. Maybe it's about the software you decide to run in your own head.
Which leaves us with one last, big question to chew on. What happens when being creative isn't about having ideas anymore, but about designing the systems that have the ideas for you? What does that world look like? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.